Hello, Black Bane Simpson here today. It's on November 19th. It's actually my mother's birthday today. Right now I just picked up a new work van because my other work van motor decided to take a dump and sound like a steam engine. It was pretty bad. I was still 150 miles away from home too. Excuse me. So it's about 1:30 or so. So I was just listening to Rush and Rush is an exceptional analyst. He analyzes what he observes and talks about it. And he's been doing quite a good job of doing it, and has had a huge success at it, where he's been doing it for about 30 plus years or something. And there's no signs of him slowing down. He must be doing something right. He must be putting out some right information if this many people still continue to follow him, and new people follow him. And what's interesting is usually people believe what he has to say either. They don't sit there and be like, I never will go back. At least I've never heard it. It's always, yeah, he gets a little crazy here and there, but I still listen to him or something like that. There's always, because he's right with his points. But this podcast about Rush is more about how the media outlets talk about him. It's fascinating to me that a media outlet like NPR or like this Clinton show or something that Rush was talking about, it's fascinating to me that the left or even people on the right will claim that Rush is really not important and has really nothing important to really say. But at the same time turning around and re-quoting what he has to say numerous times, and also lay blame to why the left and the right pendulum, the swing, has been so drastic. It's when you know people are being blamed. I mean, if you it's like me trying to sit there and say the reason why Trump was voted in was because of Hillary Clinton. That's not the reason why, and it wasn't because of Bill Clinton either. It wasn't because of Bush. It was the compounding effect of shitting on people, and not always speaking up what was actually on the minds of the people. At the same time, anytime that the politicians did say anything close to what was on the minds of the people, they turned around and switched right away. It was like they only went on the fact of let's build a wall just to get votes. Because when it really came down to it, that never happened. I mean, this happened with multiple presidents before Trump. This is why Trump was elected. And what's fascinating right now is the media will use it's using Rush as an example of why the people are divisive, why there's this division, why there's this great abyss that's happening between the left and the right, and the NPR people are acting like if Rush never existed, if he didn't have his voice, if he didn't have the way to get out there and talk, if he didn't have the platform, we might not have this. Well, I beg to differ. We might have something worse. If we didn't have kind-hearted, smart, objective, foresighted people like Rush Limbaugh. I don't know. Like, there's other people that are. I would prefer not to see. Like David Duke. I mean, I can't even really think of any besides that name because of how it was used against Trump so much. There's several other ones out there that are with groups that could be considered. I would even consider hate groups. Like, it could be those people that are speaking, and not Rush. So I beg to differ. Rush is extremely important because not just not just Republicans listen to Rush, but Democrats do too. Well, I would say more Republicans listen to more because more Republicans tend to have conservative ideology, which is the opposite for the Democrats. They have more socialist ideologies. And it's interesting because, too, is that I think the reason why NPR and that Clinton show, the reason why they blame people like Rush Limbaugh, and they blame other people too, but I just find it interesting why Rush, since he's more about, let's talk about history, let's break things down as how we can see it, and let's break down how these people are reacting. It analyzes things, and he does a fairly good job, and he's been pretty accurate. You know, honest, I would say Rush Limbaugh is honest, assertive, kind, good qualities. He's far from being divisive. He's far from being evil. And when I hear people say that, the first thing I think is, what proof? And then, if there is no proof, you're projecting. These people of like NPR are actually projecting how they actually are, what they actually do, how they actually think. It's interesting, and I would suggest anybody who doesn't really understand the psychological breakdown of projection, I would recommend checking it out, because we all have done it at some point or another, or continue to do it in some way. It's fascinating. It is amazing to see the media act as though Rush is not important, but quote him as much as they do, and lay blame. Oh, he can't be important if you're going to blame him, right? This column is not important, but sure, if we try to knock it down, it might take down this whole group of people that we believe are the ones that keep on voting said person and keep on holding the building up. It just, to me, I don't. What it is the media has been outdone by one guy. One guy. Media. Media is like hundreds of people working together trying to overcome something. And one guy pretty much comes along, has maybe a few partners or whatever, and just beats them. Beats them at their own game. Takes them and just drags them through the mud. That's why I think NPR goes after. That's why I think the media or whatever, they go after Rush as often as they do. They try to quote him, and they try to break his quotes down and try to break down his analyzing, objective analyzation. I don't even know which word would actually be better. His analyticness, his ability to things. I don't. Is that for numbers? I don't know. But his ability to analyze things, they like to try to break down and analyze themselves in a way that's not proper. It's not. It's like pulled out of context so often. It's like you got to listen to what he has to say for at least whatever that quote's from. Listen for the last half hour before that, and maybe even the entire from the beginning, to truly understand the grasp of what he's trying to say. That is. I mean, this goes on both sides, but on both sides they tend to try to pull things out of context constantly. So NPR, the people who work for NPR, all those people, they're just full of hate. They're full of hate because they try, and yet fail. In comparison, they might be succeeding in still getting people to, view their content and still hand them money and still praise them, but still not at the scope of Rush. I mean, could you imagine Rush Limbaugh show having 20 Rushes? Kind of like CNN, how there's like 20 different hosts because there's like 20 different shows throughout the day. Could you imagine that? If there was just a channel called Rush and it had 20 like different Rushes? I mean, that would be one hell of a succeeding channel because the amount of content that would come out of that. Because Rush isn't about sticking to ideologies, about sticking to the truth and honesty. That's why I feel people hate him so much, because that's how he succeeds. He succeeds because he's honest. He's truthful with what he observes. And it's what everybody craves. But people crave that. Especially people who know they've been lied to all their lives. And they discover that. Once they discover that they've been lied to all their lives, it's like people like Rush that feed that need for truth. It's interesting. I've seen it in many different ways, and what I mean by that is like I've seen it in academia. I've seen it in religion. And just like socially, like how people work together. There's people who truly think that like evil doesn't really exist. Like they have experienced some meanness in their life, but they just couldn't ever imagine someone like the worst thing I've ever seen was on screen. Worst thing I've ever seen was like someone's heart getting cut out while they're alive. That was pretty gruesome. That was pretty. People just can't imagine that. People can't imagine that. And if people who can't imagine that are exposed to that, they're like straight up traumatized. They're traumatized. So it's hard for them to really step out of their boxes. So when they hear about people like Rush and they're like, "Oh, he's bad," well, it's really easy for them just to think of them as like a vampire. Like let's just not bother giving them the opportunity because I just don't want my neck. But it's like we know that vampires don't exist. So why don't you just find out why this person's being called a vampire before you jump to conclusions? I personally know that from myself being. I wouldn't consider myself a leftist, but I was. I mean, I was for Occupy Wall Street. When Occupy Wall Street was going on, I was for that. And then I realized, in seeing the aftermath of Occupy Wall Street, which really got me started thinking, these people all talk about being hippies and all the world's coming to a shit because of pollution and global warming, all these lies. And then to find out that the place looked like it was something from like Fallout, the game Fallout. Like just like a bomb got dropped somewhere near, and all this shit just came rolling in, or a big gust of wind, tornado just blew all this fucking junk into this park. Like, that's what really started to make me think. I swear, I can't really think of anything else that really got me to be like, there's something I'm not observing right. There was things with racial stuff that I knew wasn't true, but I didn't place that on one group or another. But now I realize the Democrats really play on the racial parts of things, and then which I understand why now it's so bad because of the Democrats. So yeah, you got the media that's attacking opinionated pieces, objective, analyzed pieces of Rush to an attempt to get people to think that somehow Rush is the actual issue. I don't know their end goal on that. I don't know the only thing I can think of is their end goal is to try to eliminate Rush's voice. And it's like, Rush is, to my knowledge, is like a billionaire or something like that. He's a very successful man. He will start his own radio station. And it will be most likely be non-profitable just so he could, despite the people who tried to censor him. Like, I could see him doing that because he could make money in other places besides his radio. He does it through like his podcasting on the internet, his subscriptions and stuff, or his books, his Paul Revere books and stuff, which I recommend. I recommend people just to check them out. You've never seen or never heard of Rush or even knew of Rush or anything like that. I would highly suggest checking him out. Rush is an exceptional talker, and he's been around for 30 plus years on the radio talking about politics and breaking things down. And he does it extremely well, usually well enough for the lamest of minds. He's an incredible person. I'd say he's up there with a handful of people. A handful of people. I don't know. I'm not sure what it's going to take to finally shake things up, and like NPR and just all these different entertainment and media outlets. Like, what's going to really shake things up to realize these people are just so out of touch with the actual traditional American people. Not foreigners, not first gen, not second gen, but when people are told you're an American, they think of a Western white European traditional person. You know, that is what American is usually thought of as for a person to look like. Just about anywhere in the world you go and you talk about America. They don't think of South Americans, they don't think of Indians, they don't think of Africans, they think of Western white European people. And right now that in itself is being attacked. It's being destroyed. It's being looked at as if any area that is white majority is somehow inherently evil. And that's kind of how they view the voice of Rush. The voice of Rush, because the voice of Rush does not speak for them. He speaks for himself, which conveniently gives us a truth to allow to make us our own choices. Just like it seems like almost every Western European nation has somehow or tried to implement, when it's dominated by Western European values and like Christianity, it always seems to give more choice, more compassion, more kindness, more curiosity than any other group. And they, for some reason, over time get so despited, even by the own people. And it's I kind of see that's how Russia is giving out so much. He has so much kindness, compassion, and curiosity. People just hate that. People can't. Evil just does not like that. And evil will try to do whatever it can to tear it down. Evil comes with smiles and niceness, with zero assertiveness. This is a mask to allow them to infiltrate and seed in problems for the future, or even for the now. This is what the good is always battling against. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this podcast, please still like and subscribe. If you have any advice or still just want to tell me whatever is on your mind, just do it below in the comments. Thank you. Have a great day.